Hey, what's going on, Purple People podcast fans? Welcome to this week's show. It is Tuesday, November 24th. This is episode 416, Zeke and Destroy. And I am Kyle Smith. And this week, I'm joined by only Adam Carlson because Kyle West is out. But I'm glad to have you here, buddy. What's going on?
It's true. It's nice to have the lesser of the two co-hosts here with you. But, you know, I'm here. I got a cat with me. Got a mute cat right here. He's doing his thing.
Yeah, he really adds.
Really I'm not super eager to talk Vikings football, but I'm here.
I think that makes two of us. Oh, man. So we named this episode Zeke and Destroy. I wanted to get a Metallica reference in at some point. I think we might have one more in all these episodes somewhere. But, yep, the Vikings were on a very hot winning streak, 3 in a row, 3 in the division, and they fell just short up against the Cowboys in Minnesota. 31-28 this weekend. Kind of a shock, not going to lie. At first, it seemed like the Vikings might steamroll the Cowboys, but the more we dissect this game here, coming up here in a second, the more it makes sense to me with Mike McCarthy and the way the Vikings decided to play a little bit differently than they had in the last couple of games where they had won. But yeah, Andy Dalton, no Dak Prescott, unfortunately, is out for the year with the foot injury. Andy Dalton made a good comeback, and the Cowboys at 3-7 are now tied for the division lead. I think I think they're still in second, but all 3 of the top 3 teams in that horrible division have 3 wins, and it's anybody's race right now, which is pretty sad.
Yeah, the NFC East is quite a poop show, as some people like to say. And the more that you watch them, you kind of understand why. But the problem is that a lot of people were talking about this Dallas Cowboys team like they weren't a team like the Minnesota Vikings. Because the Vikings have a lot of young players, just like Dallas does. And Dallas is still trying to kind of mesh things together. And, of course, he had the big injury at quarterback. A lot of people sleep on Andy Dalton. He's a very capable quarterback, especially when you can give him time. In Cincinnati, he had no time.
And which is crazy because with how dominant the Steelers were for so long, now the emergence of Baltimore, Cleveland's pretty much been a non-factor. The Bengals in the AFC, they were pretty much a lock every year for the playoffs that he was the quarterback there. I know Marvin Harrison, is it Marvin Lewis? My bad. I confused him with a player. Marvin Lewis was not very winning in the postseason, but he can get you there. So,
right.
Andy Dalton, I think this is a true testament to where the Vikings are too. I don't necessarily think that he's better than Kirk Cousins, but look at the situation. If Dallas hadn't have went after him and they would have had whatever their third string quarterback's name, and I forget his name already, played a couple of games in Dalton's absence, the Vikings would be screwed having to play Sean Mannion. So it just is a true testament to see if your backup's capable, they can win games if you play very well. And credit to Dallas in this game. They did play well. Ezekiel Elliott had his first 100-yard game in a very long time.
Barely, though. Just barely.
True. The thing that stood out to me before we give out some game balls and donkeys in this game was how physical Dallas played. Good Lord, they were going up and making some hits, man. Dalvin Cook did have a 100-yard day at 27 carries for 115 yards and a touchdown, but they were not afraid to go up and thump him and give it to the receivers as well, catching the ball. They played very physical, which kind of stood out to me just at first glance. But we'll get into some game balls and donkeys if you'd like. I'll let you go first.
Let's see. Well, I don't want to ruin too much because I've got my MVPs article ready to publish over on the Viking Age with my offensive and defensive MVPs. So I'm not going to pick either of those people. So let's go with Kirk Cousins, who had possibly the best game of his season, maybe his career, with some of those deep throws that were in super tight windows where only his receivers could get them. It was really a great performance from him, other than a blindside tackle that caused a fumble. And I don't know what else people really expect from Kirk Cousins, but he did everything this game to make sure that the Vikings would win, and still it somehow all fell apart.
Yeah, he would have been my choice as well. I'm going to give it to someone else here, but this was his best game of the season, in my opinion, like you had noted. I don't see a lot. I hear this on national shows all the time. Is he good? Is he not good? Blah, blah, blah. Really, and it's a sad thing for him as far as like wins and losses because it's a team margin to be gone by. But when he plays well, a lot of the times it's not up to standard to a Patrick Mahomes statistical day and Aaron Rodgers statistical day. But he played almost as good as he could play, and the defense just couldn't help him out. And the special teams, again, had their woes. And I kind of feel bad for the guy because I think he did pretty well this game. 140.1 rating. He had a perfect passer rating for a good chunk of the game.
Yeah.
I feel bad for him. I can't really blame that fumble loss either. It's really hard. Yeah, he needs to hang on to it, but I didn't expect that to happen either. That was kind of a shocking air quote fumble there for him. But Kirk Cousins did have a good day. That's a good choice. I'm going to give mine to Adam Thielen. He's really emerged the last 2 games. He has broken into double-digit touchdowns, I think maybe for the first time in his career, and we still have a lot of football left for the season. 123 yards on 8 receptions and 11 targets, long of 51. And I think this is nothing that he wouldn't say either, but this is a credit to Justin Jefferson and the attention that he's getting because Adam Thielen's getting a lot of one-on-one looks, and Kirk Cousins will tell you himself he'll take that all day long. So take advantage of it.
And you can definitely tell that Kirk Cousins is still absolutely believing in everything Adam Thielen, because I believe he had more than twice the targets of the next receiver on the day.
Oh, yeah. I'm looking here. Adam Thielen, 11 targets. The next 2 were Justin Jefferson and Dalvin Cook at 5 apiece. So, yeah.
Yeah, he loves throwing that ball Adam Thielen's way, and that'll probably change as he grows more confident in throwing the football towards some of his younger receivers, but for now, it's probably going to be the Adam Thielen show.
Yeah, I'm really happy for Adam Thielen, especially after last year. I think he had more touchdowns than Diggs did last year, but he was out for most of the year with an injury, and you wondered if he would come back because he's creeping into the 30s, and there were some doubts, but he is very much showing his presence. He's still got a lot of gas left in the tank, which is fun. And I'm excited. I hope he retires a Viking. Just a big Thielen fan, as most of us are on the show. Donkeys here, I'm giving mine to Chris Boyd, even though if you looked at the stats, he had a decent day. Looking here at 4 tackles, a pass defended. If it was a rookie, I wouldn't be as harsh on him, but that waving and not getting set on the special teams pass to convert a 4th down, you can't do that. This was you could pick a lot of people from the defense. I think the defense lost this game for us, but Chris Boyd gets my donkey. I wasn't a big fan of his day.
Other than the 2 back-to-back penalties, I don't think he played that terribly. But I don't know if some players are going to survive what happened in this game unless they can really make a good case to stick around, because Chris Jones is my donkey for the week. And the Vikings picked him up off Arizona's practice squad within the last few weeks to come in and help out. And he made what they like to call an executive decision to not make a tackle on that Pollard run. And he let up in such an obvious way that there is no way that he's going to be able to convince anyone that it wasn't, hey, I'm just not getting in his way. And the Vikings already have enough young cornerbacks that they can play other people in that position. They just want to see what this kid has, have a fresh rotation. But if he's going to step in there and he's not going to play to his ability, especially after seeing what a lot of the other players were able to do on defense, Eric Kendricks had an amazing game again. Harrison Smith was balling out, doing what he could. And the fact that there's players on that defense, at least one player, that isn't going to give it his all, that won't stand in a Mike Zimmer defense.
Yep, that's a good pick. I'm looking through, trying to get past all the negativity here because the defense was pretty bad. CeeDee Lamb had a great day, even though on the stat sheet you're looking at only 4 catches and 2 rushes. God, God, man, this guy's so good. This receiver class of this year is just out of this world. And it's looking like Dallas and Minnesota are some of the biggest winners of that draft.
You want to hear a disappointing stat?
Oh, let's hear it.
The Minnesota Vikings defense gave up 31 points in total to the Dallas Cowboys. Now, 31 points is a pretty interesting number because that is the number of points that Dallas scored in their previous 3 games combined.
Oof. Yeah, that's rough, especially to do it at home. We know that with COVID that this home and away thing is going to be different. The Vikings, if you guys haven't heard, have already announced there will be no fans in the stands this season. So that super home field advantage and how loud it was, it's not going to be the same this season as it will for the future. But you're coming off of 3 amazing divisional wins and beating some really good opponents in the Packers and the Bears. And this Cowboy team looked like it's just like patchwork duct tape together, and they figured it out. And this is what I was saying at the beginning of the show is credit to Mike McCarthy. He knows this team very, very well. He coached against Mike Zimmer in particular for a while. So if anybody could kind of figure it out, this is it. And I think that Dallas, I won't say they're surging, but I think they're kind of hitting a nice little bit of momentum, and they're kind of figuring out, okay, the record is terrible, but we kind of know what the team is. And they do have a lot of good players on that team. I just don't know. I don't really know why they've lost so many games.
I mean, their health is number one. There were some games where they didn't have Zeke or Zeke wasn't at 100%. And then losing Dak Prescott, they opened the season as an unbelievable team. Their offense was number one for a long time just because of what they were able to accomplish with Dak Prescott at quarterback. And yeah, Andy Dalton came in and he didn't last very long. And now that he's back, they have a somewhat capable quarterback back there. And this team's going to look completely different on offense. And they can make adjustments on defense. Diggs on defense. He wasn't there for this game, but when he returns, he'll be able to kind of mesh in for that young defense. And honestly, he's been one of the only standouts in that secondary.
You know what? That's a good point. I kind of figured after Dak had gotten hurt, which, by the way, I think before this game started, he still had more passing yards than Lamar Jackson, which is – so I'm not talking any crap about Lamar Jackson. I think he's an amazing football player, but just kind of an odd stat because Dak hasn't played for a while now.
Right.
Haven't really paid attention, and now that you're saying all these things, it makes a lot of sense because kind of pushed Dallas to the wayside and just assumed that Philadelphia was going to run away with this terrible division in football. That's a good point.
I mean, you can look at it this way. Who's the better quarterback right now? Is it Andy Dalton or is it Carson Wentz?
I mean, we could talk about that if you wanted, because I was a firm believer with the talent. And like, I refer back to specific games and plays. I don't know how you guys remember certain players, but I remember last season I watched Carson Wentz play the Falcons, and I don't remember if it was in Philly or Atlanta, but he was supposed to be tackled. He was supposed to be sacked. And somehow he just like bent over and kind of made a 90-degree angle, got out of a sack, and then made an amazing throw. And it was either on 3rd or 4th down to convert. And I was like, man, this guy's, he's got talent. He doesn't have a good line. He's throwing to lawn chairs, as Colin Cowherd would say, at a special team, or I'm sorry, skilled players. But the more and more I see of that guy, I'm not buying into the money that they paid for him. And I'm on the Adam Carlson train of this guy's a little bit overrated. Don't see it. I don't see it a lot. What's up, John? Thanks for joining. Completely all out on the playoffs. We're going to go 7-9. Dalvin wins the rush title. Jefferson Rookie of the Year. Offensive Rookie of the Year. Mahomes gets COVID week of Super Bowl. Brady wins again. Well, there's some of that. What you're saying is true. I'm not going to bet on the Vikings not going to the playoffs because this is a weird year and anything could happen. 7-9 looks about like what this team is. Dalvin is very much on pace to win the rushing title. I don't think Jefferson's winning Offensive Rookie of the Year while Justin Herbert is still playing. It's a quarterback-driven league, and he's going to win. I certainly hope that
Dalvin's
Mahomes,
second in rushing yards right now.
Right. I think he's 10 behind Derrick Henry, so he's definitely got a chance. And then the last part's just a funny thing to put up. Mahomes gets COVID. I hope he doesn't. I want to see good quarterback play and the best players in the Super Bowl. I hope Brady doesn't win again. Oh, that would piss me off. Tampa Bay looks mediocre at best sometimes. I don't want to see them go to the Super Bowl.
And Herbert's looking like he might get that Offensive Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, as long as he's playing, That's not happening.
Quarterback bias is such a big thing in this league. It's not saying that he's not, the best offensive player. It's just because he plays that position, he's going to get more votes.
Absolutely. I mean, to give him credit too, he would be. I would put Jefferson second, only because over the weekend with some news, we can kind of tie this together. But Joe Burrow of the Cincinnati Bengals had a horrible knee injury, like Teddy Bridgewater-esque, and he is out for the season. He's probably not going to come back next year either. It's going to take a while for him to recover, since it's so late in the year. I would assume they would play that safe. So now it's going to be up to Justin Herbert, quarterback for the Chargers, or Justin Jefferson to win Offensive Rookie of the Year. We'll see what happens there. We'll keep you posted.
And don't leave out James Robinson.
Oh, yeah, on James Robinson, man. I keep forgetting about that. Sorry about that.
I believe he has more yards from scrimmage than Dalvin Cook or than Justin Jefferson. I think he leads in yards from scrimmage as a rookie. And either Mr. Smith froze or
I did want to pull up an interesting. It's probably me. I'm going to stop using my computer because it's acting weird. Sorry about that, guys. A little technical difficulty there. I did want to pull up the stats, though, because this was a cool game for Viking milestones. And we're really close to having 2 1,000-yard receivers. But let's talk about Dalvin Cook, because as Adam Carlson said earlier, he is 10 yards behind Derrick Henry right now. Derrick Henry has 1,079. Dalvin Cook has 1,069 rushing yards. He leads the league in touchdowns and rushing with 13, but he has a 1,000-yard season and a double-digit touchdown season right now. And I believe he's on pace for either 1,600 or 1,700 yards with around 18 to 19 touchdowns on the year. So Dalvin Cook's that whole deal is paying off, and I'm really happy to see it because I had my doubts about him. When he's healthy, man, he's really, really good.
Yeah, it's tough to want to pay a running back premium prices in the NFL this year or at this time. And the more that you kind of think about how much he is to this team as one of the few run-first teams in the NFL left, it's kind of astounding how much he does touch the ball. Because if I remember right, there was only one other carry from a running back in the game. I think Madison got one carry, and everything else was Dalvin Cook.
Looking at the stat sheet here, I mean, he's a jack of all trades, and this is kind of what separates him from Adrian Peterson. I can't remember if it was one of those wonderful announcers that we can talk about from this game because they were pretty awful to have to bear, or if we heard this somewhere else. But someone said that he reminds them of a more powerful Chris Johnson, which I like that comparison. 27 carries, 115 yards, and a score. He also has 5 for 5 on receiving with 45 yards and a long of 26 there. So he can do it all, man. The guy is just so versatile, and I like that. It's going to fade over time because he kind of relies on his speed and his angles. But right now in his prime, I mean, I don't see many people that do it better than him.
It's true. His combination of shiftiness and power, it's really fun to watch.
I like Dalvin Cook, too, because he's not afraid of contact. I respect that a lot about his game and watching him play. He'll go head on with a linebacker or safety and knock him completely over, and it's a lot of fun to watch when you're about to see it coming and you anticipate. But you're right, yeah, Dalvin Cook carried the ball 27 times, Alexander Madison once, and Kirk Cousins once. We mentioned Kirk earlier, but we'll shout him out in the stats here. 22 of 30, 314 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks. Another efficient game from Cousins. He's quietly turning it around, and it's a good thing.
Yeah, it's nice not to be constantly hearing on social media how Kirk Cousins is absolutely terrible and the offense is junk. I believe the Vikings have Pro Football Focus's, I don't know if it's number 2 or 3 offense in the NFL.
Read that it was number 4, which is crazy because they have a terrible record.
Right, they're top 5 offense, but their defense is just atrocious. And it's crazy that Minnesota's been able to turn around their offense after what happened at the beginning of the year, because they were just absolutely abysmal.
Well, that's a good segue, man. And that's not what you think of it when we think about the Vikings team under the Mike Zimmer era. Is maybe the offense sucks, but the defense will win you some games. They'll be top 10 in defense and bottom half in offense, but they have a winning record, which is what we're always used to. But segueing off of the offense here, I want to talk about Adam Thielen and Justin Jefferson, because right now, Adam Thielen, where is he at on this list? He has 646 yards, but he has 11 touchdowns on the year, which is insane.
The most for a wide receiver in the NFL?
Devontae Adams and Tyreek Hill are right behind him at 10, but he leads the league in touchdown receptions. Justin Jefferson, and I hate to do this comparison, but not enough to not do it. Stephon Diggs, 4 touchdowns on the year, 906 yards.
Diggs has never been a touchdown machine. When you look at his stats with the Vikings, he's never had double-digit touchdowns.
He's number 2 in the league, right behind Nuke Hopkins out there in Arizona. Justin Jefferson, about 60 yards behind, 848 yards and 4 touchdowns. This rookie wide receiver, barring an injury, is going to pass 1,000 yards before your veteran wideout. And I dare say you can interchange these guys on who you want to call the number 1 to guard, because if you double team one, the other is going to be in a one-on-one situation, and it's not good for anyone. So,
but at least everyone agrees that BC's not the number 2 anymore.
Yeah, that's not a thing. Poor BC Johnson. We were all hyped on him for the preseason.
I mean, he looked solid.
He did look solid. All the reports are really good. But you know what's better than that? BC Johnson, at least you're seeing the field. I thought Tajay Sharp was going to come in here and have some sort of presence, and I see him in gym clothes every Sunday. So
yeah,
I am still working on my NFL scouting skills, ladies and gentlemen. We already mentioned Dalvin Cook. We'll go back to the receiving stats. Kyle Rudolph was a good 3 for 3 for 28 yards. Irv Smith was 2 for 2 for 23. BC Johnson, 1 of 1. And I don't want to talk about fumbles because they make me sad.
The Vikings offensive line, though, this game was pretty atrocious. There was not a lot of time for Kirk Cousins to do anything behind those people on the offensive line. I understand that Ezra Cleveland's out, and Cleveland has been playing fairly well. Pat Elflein has been playing near the best that he has ever been since returning from his injury. So, or not Pat Elflein. Garrett Bradbury's been playing very well this season, probably his best. Pat Elflein, of course, moved on, and they're trying to find the long-term replacement at left guard, and Brett Jones had himself a decent day, but not great. Personally, I'm excited to see Ezra Cleveland come back because he seemed to work well with the players next to him and kind of create a little bit more running lanes. So hopefully Ezra Cleveland can come back and this Vikings running game can do a little bit better than what they did this week.
I will say that the Cowboys, stacking the box, trying to take away Cook, even though he had a 100-yard game, they did their job. The offensive line, like you mentioned, it needs to do better, which sucked because I think the last couple of weeks before this game, all the division games they were riding up, they were kind of getting into a gel with their personnel and kind of getting that chemistry up. But with those players being out, I think that had to have had some effect on the chemistry that was going on with the different players that swapped out.
But there's a reason the Cowboys were able to cast off Everson Griffin after signing him. It's because they do have some really talented pass rushers on that team, and they can send them at the quarterback pretty well because they know that Minnesota has those weaknesses on the offensive line. So they came in with a good game plan, and they executed it well.
Yeah, they certainly did. This is actually a very interesting point, and I'd like to talk about it because we can transition to the defense, talk a little bit about stats and whatnot. John Young, for those of you guys that listen to the podcast later and aren't watching live on YouTube, he says, I almost think Hunter and Pierce make us a very different defense. I think we're bad, but I think we have good players that just need to develop. I'm going to go ahead and say it right now, and Adam, you can correct me if I'm wrong, you guys in the chat that are watching, whoever would say this to. Danielle Hunter comes back. If there's no holdout, which I don't think there would be after him having a serious injury. I think he's going to come back and play for the Vikings. That's just my gut feeling. I think DJ Wanham is shown enough to where he could probably step up. Afadio Danabo is a great player too. He's having a decent season. Nothing to write home about, but he's certainly not bad. But I think opposite of Danielle Hunter, DJ Wanham would be a fun prospect there if he can beat out Afadio Danabo. And yes, Michael Pierce coming in and replacing Jaleel Johnson or whoever they have at the nose. Absolutely. And that's no disrespect to Jaleel Johnson. But
because Jaleel actually had a decent game this week.
He actually did. We can read the stats here in a minute. But yeah, Michael Pierce is definitely going to beat him out for that.
But we do got to talk about one thing.
Yeah.
And that's, did you know, I don't know if you saw the stat, but the number of pressures the Vikings defense was able to put on Andy Dalton. Do you know that number?
Pressures? Oh, I
Yes.
did not see that. Let's see if they have it down here on ESPN. I don't think
they
so.
Don't.
Nope.
They got pressures. Okay.
I'll say 8.
4.
Ooh.
2 of those came from Jalen Holmes.
Wow.
So, yeah, I mean, Jalen Holmes was really the only player that was able to at least get into his face. And Minnesota was running some blitzes, but Dallas was picking them up real well. And you could see some of those Dallas running backs, too, picking up blitzers. And it was good to watch a team work so efficiently in blocking, but I hate that it was against the Vikings.
Well, I think too. I'm no scheme expert here, but I know what we've been seeing the last couple of weeks with the wins. There's a lot of zone. We're not leaving one-on-one for these rookies, and a lot of man. And I saw a little more of that too, because I think the idea, correct me if I'm wrong, guys, the idea was to pressure Andy Dalton, and whether that be through blitzes or you send an extra guy. I know Mike Zimmer likes to do the double A gap thing, but you can't. I'm sorry. It's just not. No disrespect to these corners, because I do like Cameron Dantzler and I love Jeff Gladney, but they're just not ready to be isolated quite yet. And I think CeeDee Lamb showed you that, because Jeff Gladney was all over him. That was one of the most amazing touchdown catches I've seen in a long time from CeeDee Lamb, pretty much snatching the ball out of the air. But yeah,
Mike Hughes being done for the year pretty much, and Holton Hill not being able to play. When you're running through your depth and you already had a lot of youth, it's a trouble. And that's why we're seeing guys like Chris Jones on the football field after they were just signed off a practice squad. It's a mess. And I know Mike Zimmer is doing the best he can to simplify the defense and help out these young players. Because, the Mike Zimmer's defense, it's complicated. It really is. But the reason that it is successful is because it is complicated. It's harder for quarterbacks to read. And the fact that these young players are executing or trying to execute what they can, it's a testament to them working hard. Because I've said it before, and I'll say it again. I say it every year at draft. When you draft a cornerback, you have to allow transition time. Unless that it's just an elite prospect who is an absolute freak of nature. He's going against NFL caliber wide receivers. Amari Cooper is an amazing receiver. He really is. CeeDee Lamb, all the potential in the world. Even Michael Gallup, he's a veteran who can get things done. And this Minnesota Vikings team, they don't really have talent with their defensive backs to go at these talented receivers, not without a lot of help. And let's be honest, they're going to need those safeties to play up in the box, because you got to worry about Ezekiel Elliott.
Yep.
So you're stuck in a situation where we saw Cameron Dantzler get burnt quite a few times. And it's not because Cameron Dantzler's bad. It's just because he's kind of learning as he goes, and learning against some of these players like Amari Cooper is those aren't the kind of guys you want to learn against.
No, not at all. And in my opinion, for the value and the depth that they have, I think this is the best receiving core in the league here. If you're going to go for depth, Amari Cooper is amazing. CeeDee Lamb is a stud, much like Justin Jefferson, and Michael Gallup's pretty underrated. He's a great receiver as well. And
I like Atlanta's receivers too, but they're definitely up there.
Sure. Yeah. That's a good trio as well. That's pretty much the nail on the head, man. You nailed it. These corners that the Vikings have picked up in certain very small bits, they flash like, oh shoot, these guys can be great. But it's kind of like what John said in the chat, or I'm sorry, Viking Jerome said, they just need more game day experience. This is going to come with reps. And like, to Adam's point, and credit him for that point, is we're down so many starters on this defense. I was explaining it to my buddy Dave at work today, diehard Philadelphia Eagles fan. He goes, "What happened, man? How'd you guys lose to the Cowboys?" And I said, "It's the defense, man. You're starting defensive end, you're starting D tackle, one of your starting linebackers, starting corners are gone. I mean, it just decimated." And you hate to use that excuse, especially with a guy like that who loves Philly. They've had their fair share of that for the last couple of years, but
no, I also don't want to be this guy, because we all see this guy on social media, the guy that says the ref screwed us, this game was one-sided.
Oh yeah.
But there were plenty of times during this game where I did look at my TV screen and be like, I don't know about all this. I don't know how Harrison Smith can know how to hit someone anymore. I don't know what he can do. Didn't
we have a game this year where he got ejected? Yeah, it was a Houston game that I was at. He got ejected. Yeah. Mike Zimmer says that's not a dirty player. Well, he's had a couple of bad calls on him this year, and you kind of look around and say, has the game evolved that much? Has he been around that long? Because he's been on the team for a while with Kyle Rudolph.
Yeah.
Has the game evolved? I mean,
he'll be like 32 this year, right? Or 32 next year.
I think so. Yeah, I think they came out either in the same draft year or respective years back to back. But they're the oldest Vikings on the team that have been with the team this long, and you're thinking about it, and you're like, I'm like, had they evolved so much from the time they started in the league as professionals to now, where the way they've been playing this whole time is kind of being phased out? And like you said, I don't know what he can do, because when a guy is going down, how are you supposed to let up without ensuring that he's going to get extra yards on the play, which is kind of the whole reason you play defense, is to prevent that.
I mean, Harrison Smith lowers his pad level to hit him around the shoulder, chest area, and the receiver, as he turns, bobs his head. What are you supposed to do? You can't just let up or just let him do what he's going to do if you're going to try to tackle him.
Sure. Yeah, I think what you're to your point is there's a point where you have to look at safety, because you want that to be paramount, but you don't want safety to interfere with the actual game. There's not much you can do here short of flag football. These guys are going to hit each other, and it's going to hurt, and it's going to be violent. That's what this game is. It's violence.
And you got Kirk Cousins taking a hit to the head that didn't draw a flag.
Yeah, the officiating was not very good, which happens every week. There's missed blocks, there's missed calls, but I think what was worse than the officiating job, not to take away from all this, but I don't know what's up this year with the Vikings getting terrible announcers at their games, but they're pretty bad. And
I thought the Vikings were going to get bucked this week.
I
thought they were going to get Buck and Aikman, but
I would have rather have heard them, and they're my least favorite duo.
I don't mind Buck anymore. Aikman is hard to listen to, but I don't know. I'm going to have to listen to a few more games, but Vilma is up there contesting Aikman for worst in the league.
Yeah, I can't take it. If you guys missed it, we talked about it amongst ourselves in the Purple People pod chat. When you're saying Daniel Hunter and Danielle, like, bro, you got to know the players' names. And he's not even playing. I'm not really sure how you get him brought up this late into the season. He's had surgery. He's not playing, whatever. I don't know what your point is, but you got to get the players' names right.
Mike Thielen.
Yeah. For God's sake, man, like, you played in the league. You know how all you have, if you have nothing else, is your name. So it was hard to listen to. And it's kind of like with the Bears thing that happened the last week as well. I just don't like how people seem to favor another team. And I know I say that as biased because I'm a Viking fan, but it's super frustrating. I guess to round this point out is like how this is the best you could come up with for this game. Because this was sort of a primetime game. This is a feature game in the afternoon.
Yeah.
Do better, Fox. Do better. Find better people to do this.
It was not good. This was an exciting game to watch in a lot of ways and super frustrating in others. But as a whole, this loss isn't as bad as a lot of people chalk it up to be. I know that people look at the records and they say, "Oh, how did we lose to Dallas? They're terrible. Look at their record. Look at what they've done the last couple weeks." But yeah, I mean, this league isn't that way. You can't say the Vikings are on a 3-game win streak and they're taking on an opponent with 2 wins, you got to dig a little bit deeper and measure what's going on there, because we've seen so many times this season and the NFL in general where teams that really have no reason to be competing with a better team can hang in there and be competitive or even steal a win.
Absolutely. And it just goes to show, like, that Detroit game was pretty competitive, I thought, even though you knew the Vikings were going to win. And they go into Carolina last week and just don't score any points. You can imagine traveling across the country to play a game and you score 0 points. Anything can happen on any day. We've seen that time and time again. I don't really have much else to say in the way of stats. There was 1 sack in the game from Jaleel Johnson. Eric Wilson led the team in tackles. There were only 2 quarterback hits, 3 passes defended. So there wasn't a lot in the way of defense that was really outstanding. 1 interception in the game. Eric Kendricks is still the best linebacker in the league. I'll say it. It's biased, but I'll say it. No field goals on the day, but he was 4-4 on extra points. I don't know what to say, man. I think it's just time to wash our hands of this game, move on, look and see what Carolina is going to bring to the table. But I think the thing that hurts the most is this, the Vikings were on a momentum swing, or so we thought, to try to dig their way back to the playoffs as a 7 seed. And now they've kind of stalemated in that. They're still behind Chicago, and Chicago was on a bye, but this is going to make it even harder. And I think their chances of going to the playoffs were dropped from like 39 to 40% back into the teens. So
a win here would have been huge for Minnesota with their playoff chances, especially with Green Bay losing to Indy, Chicago on the bye, and I believe Detroit took a loss as well, right?
Yeah, no points scored in Carolina, so they would have been the only NFC North team to win this week.
And now they're going to need a lot of help if they want to have any hopes of making the playoffs, because they're going to need the teams above them to lose. And let's be honest, above them in the NFC, there's a lot of good teams.
Yeah, there's a lot of great teams. 2 of them went out last night on Monday Night Football, 2 playoff teams. The Rams played the Buccaneers, and the Rams ended up winning. So that's kind of leveled the playing field for Tampa Bay, who we thought might come through and sweep through the entire NFC. The NFC is weird this year. Is Teddy Bridgewater playing Sunday? Viking Jerome says. I do not believe Teddy Bridgewater is playing. I do know it is very highly unlikely that Christian McCaffrey is going to play as well.
Teddy was a game time decision this week. Mm-hmm. They wanted to make sure that he could go, and he couldn't. So personally, I would expect Teddy to be back with him being so close last week. So
Teddy
maybe
has a better chance than Christian McCaffrey. I'm pretty positive. I read earlier in one of my fantasy things that he is definitely out with a shoulder. But don't sleep on Teddy and the Panthers, man. That it would not surprise me at all if he starts and they come in and run away with a win here against the Vikings, because he is efficient as he has always been. And I like their backup, the XFL quarterback that they have there. He's really PJ Walker, I believe. He's one of those scrambling guys, and he's got a really rocket arm. So,
but let's be honest here about Christian McCaffrey. Any NFL fan who watches games had to be watching Christian McCaffrey and saying, with how much they use him, everything he does, he's bound to get hurt sometimes just by what he does every week on a weekly basis, how many hits he takes, how many times he touches the football. It's just, he was such a focal point for that team's offense that he was getting banged around every week. And the fact he lasted as long as he did before he went on the shelf is unbelievable.
Yeah, they were using and abusing him. And I mean, let's be honest, if he was on the Vikings, I would expect him to do the same thing, but that's another good point for this show, man. You've had nothing but great points to show. It's bound to happen at some time. Earlier in the year, it was something to do with lower body, I believe, and then a shoulder injury happened as soon as he came back. So
yeah,
might just be smart to shelf him until you know, or if you had a playoff chance. But I think they're farther down in the playoff hunt than we are. So I don't know. I'd save my star people there and see what you got in depth if I was the Panthers.
Yeah, once they're mathematically eliminated, I fully expect them to put many of their stars on the shelf.
Mm-hmm. John Young, for you guys that aren't watching live on YouTube, says, I know it's too early to talk about this, but who do y'all want the Vikes to draft? You are correct, sir. It is way too early. But he says his vote is for Wyatt Davis. Zach Wilson is a very intriguing Johnny Manziel without the partying field, though. I'm going to wait and save my judgment till free agency hits. I fully expect either Anthony Barr and Anthony Harris to walk, maybe Kyle Rudolph. I know I'm pretty much counting that Anthony Harris is going to be gone, but
yeah,
I think the Vikings are going to go defensively in the first round. They kind of have to. If it's not corner, if it's not edge rusher, linebacker, safety, they're gonna be hurting depth wise. Even with Michael Pierce and Danielle Hunter coming back, and possibly Anthony Barr off that torn pec, they're still hurting very bad in the secondary. So I fully
don't forget about Eric Wilson either. He's here on that.
Oh, that's right.
Tender.
And he's balling out this year too.
He's gonna get paid.
Damn it, that's a good point. So that would be my pick: corner, safety, or linebacker in the first round. I'm sure Adam is probably somewhere in that neighborhood too. I think we already said in one of these episodes recently they're going to take a corner in the first round. They kind of are almost forced to at this point.
I'd love to see an offensive lineman just based on talent alone, but unless a guard falls to them, I don't see that being the thing because Riley Reif will probably stick around. They've got their right tackle of the future, it seems like, for now. Ezra Cleveland isn't going to play either of those spots, so they'll keep him inside. Garrett Bradbury's playing fine. So then it leaves the one hole to fill, really, on the offensive line, and I see that coming in round 2 or 3.
Shout out to the website Tankathon. You can type in Tankathon and look for the draft order. Right now, as it sits at 4 and 6, based on the wins and losses that we have, the Vikings would be drafting 12th. So you'd still get a shot at a very good player, but it just depends on what you need.
Yeah, 12th's an interesting spot because you can see some really good players fall. And if a top quarterback, top wide receiver starts falling, it'd be hard to pass up one of those players.
It'd also be hard for Rick Spielman, assuming that he still has a job, not to collect picks and just get a shitload of picks because that's what he does.
Now, keep in mind, Pro Bowl voting is open. So if you want the Vikings to be able to keep one of their draft picks, you might want to not vote for Ngakoue.
Yeah, don't vote for Unique Ngakoue, please. All you conspirators out there.
Tail down, cat.
All you conspirators out there trying to go against the Vikings. I see you Jags, Bears, Packers, and Lions fans, you jerks.
They are, too.
You bunch of jerks. We covered that last week, but it's pretty funny. So, yeah, let me check out. I'm not going to open up in my browser on my computer. I'm going to look it up on my phone real quick while I filibuster here. So the Carolina Panthers are 4 and 7. I believe the Vikings have the same record right now, or 4 and 6. They're 4 and 6.
They both are 4-win teams right now.
They're both third in their own respective divisions. The NFC South's a little bit more competitive. The Saints at 8 and 2, the Bucks at 7 and 4. I don't think we usually do that on this this show to do a bunch of predictions, but with the way the Vikings played this week, I expect them to make adjustments. But I fully see this being a field goal type of game. I don't see this being one of those runaway games. I'm hoping that the Vikings will come out with a win and get up to 5 wins on the year. So I'll predict them to win, I'll say 27-24. But I think this is going to be a very close game because I think these teams kind of mirror each other in a way of you got a good quarterback. If Christian McCaffrey was playing, you'd have a running game that was really solid. But Carolina's defense isn't terrible, and their offense is surprisingly good, man. They have a good trio of wide receivers as well. They're more close together as far as talent towards each other. But DJ Moore, Curtis Samuel, and Robbie Anderson's having a breakout year with Teddy Bridgewater over there.
Oh, Robbie Anderson's broken out a couple times already.
Oh, yeah.
People knew he was going there, but they never really invested heavily enough in Robbie Anderson to make him a name that casual football fans know. But those who played fantasy football or those who followed receiver ranks and things like that, they knew him. They definitely knew him.
Yeah, it's amazing what happens when you leave the New York Jets. Suddenly you look like a football player.
Oh, the Jets are so bad.
They're so awful. Ugh. They're the first team, by the way, in case you were wondering about New York Jet news, the first team of the year to be mathematically eliminated from the playoffs. So there you go.
Makes you wonder what's going to happen with Sam Darnold, because I don't think he even got a fair shot.
He didn't. And I don't know how Adam Gase hasn't been fired. I think they're just going to ride him out the rest of the season and fire him and do their respective coaching hires later. But yeah, I don't think he did. I also don't think that he stays healthy very much. So they didn't do himself a favor there. But that sucks for that guy. Another top draft pick that's going to be pushed to the wayside. Hopefully he doesn't get Josh Rosen and just disappear, which sucks.
Be interesting to see what they'll be able to do with whatever quarterback they decide to take.
I just don't know if I'm any of these top draft prospects that I would ever want to go there. The money's going to be fine. You're going to be, as soon as you sign that deal, you know you're going to get guaranteed money that's going to change your life forever. But if you really love the game of football, it's very much going to be hanging in the balance of others, and that organization just doesn't know what the fuck they're doing. And
there's got to be that part of you, though, that would love to go to a terrible team and help make them great.
Oh, I'm sure. Just like Baker Mayfield thinking he's going to go to the Browns and take them to the Super Bowl. I'm sure that that's what he tried to manifest into his real life. But I don't know. I guess I'm just a pessimist. I think the government did that to me over the years. But yeah, I give him all the luck and well wishes in the world. I really don't want Trevor Lawrence to go there. I hope he forgoes that and plays the senior year. I would like to see him play anywhere but the Jets. But I don't know. Justin Fields to the Jets. That kid from whatever, North Dakota State, maybe. Trey Lance, is that his name? Who knows? They're going to take somebody.
They will.
And if they don't, somebody will absolutely trade up to get him. So that'd be interesting.
And then you got Jacksonville, who's kind of doing the same thing, and they're going to end up taking a not Gardner Minshew, and that'll open him up a little bit.
Well, think about this, too. Let's look at this real quick. We can round the show out and do our promotions at the end. But the Jets had the first pick. Jacksonville has the second. Cincinnati just lost their star quarterback. And he's probably, if I'm them, I'm going to err on the side of caution. It's what week are we going into? Week 12? I don't think he plays next year either, because it's going to take almost a year to recover from this unless you do an Adrian Peterson type deal. He may come back, so I don't think they would draft a quarterback. Dallas very well could. What if they don't come to terms with Dak Prescott? Washington definitely needs a quarterback. I don't think the Giants at 7 are sold on Daniel Jones. I mean, who knows where all these places could go. This is going to be an interesting draft coming up. I'm one of the more exciting ones in my personal opinion that are coming up. But, yeah, the Jets are terrible. That's the end of that story.
And all these former starting quarterbacks around the NFL, there's got to be one of them that's appealing to Minnesota to bring in and not compete with Kirk Cousins, because there is no competing with Kirk Cousins. There isn't. Not with the Vikings. They're not going to do that. But you could have a backup who might be able to come in and win a game or two. And that'd be good. I'd like that.
So I'm on Over the Cap right now. We're going to answer John Young's question again for you guys that aren't watching live. Would you take Sam Darnold, 3rd and 5th round trade? His salary cap charge in 2020 is $8 million. So fully contract value $30 million, fully guaranteed $30 million. It just depends. He has a 1st round pick, so you would get the 5th year option to do that later. That's a very cheap quarterback deal, considering that one of Kirk Cousins' years, one season, is equivalent to what would be his 4 right here. But like Adam said, he can't start over Kirk Cousins. I mean, unless he just absolutely comes in and Patrick Mahomes his way to the top of the league, which he's probably not going to do. That's just my take. But a 3rd and a 5th for him to be your backup, that's a tough one, man.
That's a stiff one. It really is.
Maybe in this situation, John, and this is just me spitballing here, but maybe you go ahead and you throw that out there and you let Kirk Cousins walk after a year or two. But the Vikings are too heavily invested in Cousins at the moment for that to make sense. But if it turned into you gave around a 3rd and a 5th, he comes in and he's a successor to Cousins and it works out, that'd be great. That'd be great value. But I doubt it. They are too in love with Sean Mannion for whatever reason that we can't comprehend. So
let's talk about the Survival League.
Let's do it.
Where 2 teams were eliminated. The Vikings and the Dolphins were the 2 picks that put away Purple People and Skull. So there are now only a dozen people alive. 2 still have no strikes. So Craig is one of those individuals We all know Craig.
Oh, Craig.
He's very good.
Former winner, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Logan is the only other one without a strike. And then we've got 3 people with 1 strike. And the rest of the 12 have 2 strikes, which includes me. I'm still in here. Like I've said before, I kind of hope I don't win, but I'm not going to let you guys win. So hopefully I'll get eliminated soon and you guys can compete for the prizes. But for now, I'm still in contention. So beat me. Do it.
Much like the Vikings season and happiness this year, I was eliminated very early. But I'm rooting for you guys. Like we said, we'll say it on every show just till we build a little bit more minimum and a little more following in the show. We will provide you with some swag if you end up winning. I'll buy you a Purple People Podcast shirt. We'll throw in some goodies. I might even throw in one of these bad boys here for you guys watching. I'm wearing something that I bought off of Bud Grant's garage sale digitally, thanks to COVID this year. This is a signed Bud Grant year 2000 official team guide. I'm not sure if you can see it down here. I'll have to hit the light a certain way, but it's signed in a gold marker. It's right here where my finger is, down here. But I'll throw in one of these as well, along with the Purple People Podcast T-shirt. But you got to win out, and Adam's not going to go out and just roll over for you. So you've got to beat him fair and square.
I mean, it's not looking like I'm going to win, but you never know. I've seen sillier stuff happen.
We certainly have in that survival league alone. Adam, I'll get your stuff last. I'm going to promote Kyle's stuff first, just since he's not here. Unfortunately, Kyle West had to work this week, so he's out there fighting the good fight and dealing with the public during these weird times. So stay safe, Wes. We will see you next week, hopefully.
He is essential.
He is very essential. Shout out to Kyle West. You should go support him here at redbubble.com/people at Phantasm Digital. We brought it up on previous shows, but he's a great photographer. You can find his prints there, or if you wanted to design with the Purple People Podcast, you can take these prints, his photos that he's taken, or the Purple People Pod logo, whatever you'd like on there, and you can get it printed on pretty much anything you'd like. Phone cases, T-shirts. You can put in things on. My God, we've seen shower curtains on there. I mean, it's up to you, honestly.
Could you imagine listening to our podcast while enjoying a nice hot cup of coffee with the Purple People Podcast logo on it?
Drinking it while you're wearing your Purple People Podcast shirt.
Oh, that'd be so nice.
I can tell you guys right now, if you get the premium T-shirt, they're super comfortable, and just for me, they fit really well. I very much enjoy that shirt, and I'm not just saying it because I'm on the show. I paid for it with my own money. So you guys should go check this out, and the link's right here, https://www.redbubble.com/people/Phantasm Digital, and you should support Kyle West. And you know why I'm going to keep shoving that down your guys' throat? Because in a year where Amazon and Walmart and all these companies have made billions of dollars during this place, you can help out a small business and a friend of the show and a host of the show. That's what you could do.
Absolutely.
Adam Carlson's going to promote himself because he is awesome as well, and we want to get him paid too.
Yeah, the Viking Age is a nice place to go over and read about the Minnesota Vikings, whether it's opinions, thoughts, ideas, questions, whatever it is. There's usually something posted over on the Viking Age that'll wet your whistle for any Minnesota Vikings news. Personally, I've got my best and worst that was published after the game, and I've got my MVPs coming out very, very soon here. And I'll be doing the power rankings within the next day or two, looking at where the Vikings are in power rankings. And they didn't really move after they beat the Bears, but how much will a loss to the Cowboys move them? And was it going to move them a fair amount? We'll break all that down in that piece.
That's
over
awesome.
On Undead Walking, we had the mid-season finale of Fear the Walking Dead on Sunday, and we're going to have back-to-back episodes of World Beyond on this coming Sunday to act as the season finale. And World Beyond looks like it's going to end with a crazy, crazy season finale. So I'm kind of hoping that can blow my mind. I haven't gotten to watch those episodes yet, but I'm hoping that they're just going to be up to par with the last couple episodes so far of the season. Over on Twitch, I haven't been doing too much, but you can go over there and give me a follow at MN Viking Zombie and give me and hop on in and check me out whenever I go live. If you hit that star notification, or I think it's a heart. I don't know which one it is, but you can get notifications for when I go live, and you can set those notifications up. And if you see I go live and you're not doing anything at the moment, hop on in and say hi. It'd be nice to see you.
I just wanted to promote our channels again before we leave, and I just posted something to our Facebook page. Interesting thing here. You can check it out on our website because I'm not going to pull this up on the screen and you can't really see my phone. But I just said this wide receiver duo is something special. The top 3 highest graded wide receivers this year, according to Pro Football Focus. Adam, would you like to take a guess? Because I know you know the answer to this.
I know 2 and 3, but I'm not really sure who one is. Is it Devontae Adams?
Devontae Adams is number 1 at 92.0. Justin Jefferson is second at 90.6. And Adam Thielen is third at a smooth 90.0.
Nice.
Man, there's, the season might be close to being done for the team, not being able to make the playoffs. But by God, that rookie wide receiver is something special. And there's always something fun to look forward to every game.
To go off topic for just a moment.
Yep.
I've got to ask you, how long did it take you to see Devontae Adams as being a real top NFL wide receiver and not just a receiver that was made to look really good by Aaron Rodgers?
I would say probably last year at the earliest. His name had always been in the top 10 conversation.
Yeah.
But it had always went to Julio Jones, number 1, DeAndre Hopkins over the last 5 years, Odell Beckham as far as talent. Michael Thomas had gotten in there recently because of all of his receptions, but even all those guys I mentioned, I still would have put him ahead of Devontae Adams, but he is absolutely a machine. He is very good. He can run any route. He can beat almost any corner, and he's got very good hands, and there's really not much you can say because when you've got speed, you've got very smart route running, and you can catch. I mean, respect to him because I was over there kind of trashing his name a little bit, like, Diggs is better than him. Thielen's definitely better than him. He's pretty good, man. He's pretty good. It turns out Aaron Rodgers wasn't just saying that because he's his friend and his teammate, but yeah, he's a good player for sure.
At least he's not Valdez-Scantling this week. Poor guy.
He can't catch a break.
Well, I always hate when fans go way too far and the number of death threats that guy is getting, it's just not cool.
Dude, grow up. That's ridiculous.
It's a game. I understand that we're all passionate about it. We love our football. We love our football players. But at some point, you can't take it that seriously.
Just frustrating. It's like a lot of these guys that talk a lot of shit about, and I've been on that train too emotionally after a loss. Oh, Zimmer sucks and blah, blah, blah. Like, dude, you weren't saying that kind of stuff these last 3 wins against the division. Just stop.
You wish death upon Mike Zimmer after
I have never said that. I don't even think I've jokingly said that a player should get injured just because I think morally it's pretty messed up. I think I might have said it once or twice, maybe to my brother in jest, but I don't actually mean that. And to actually come out and communicate that, I hope that nobody as a Viking fan would ever do that, but that's also very fucking illegal. So don't do that. You can go to jail for that. So don't do that. That's really dumb. And yeah, like you said, this is just a game, dude. Who cares? Win, you lose, whatever. You support your team no matter what. We'll be here next week. We're not going to hope that somebody dies because we lost to the Cowboys. I love this team too much, man.
I mean, it's not like I hunted down Chris Jones's Twitter and sent him some bad messages or something like that. No, seriously, I don't do that.
I'm going to promote the show, and we can get out of here right at an hour. But all right, thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you to Viking Jerome and John Young for jumping in the chat. I know we were supposed to go ahead and get started at 4:30 Central, 5:30 Eastern. I apologize. I decided to be a rookie today and leave my keys at work, so I had to go back and get them. Little personal stuff going on right now in the family, so I'm hoping that my mom is doing okay. Check in if you guys pray or anything like that. Send some prayers for my mom right now, going through a rough time. But I wanted to close the show out and say thank you to those guys who tuned in. I'm sorry we got started late. check out our YouTube channel. Really want to promote that and say if you will hit that notification bell and you will watch these videos, hit the like, and then share that YouTube page. That's linked right here on this channel right here, youtube.com/Purple People Podcast. Share that on your Facebook page to another Viking fan and all your friends. The more numbers we could pick up would be greatly appreciated. We're also on Facebook.
We may not be the most popular Vikings podcast out there, but do you know what? I really love the passionate fans that show up in our live chat and engage with us and have a great time. The community that we do have is amazing. And like Vikings Jerome, John Young, and everyone else who shows up in chat, it really does help to make these shows a lot more fun and a lot more interesting for us. So thank you.
We do. We appreciate it. It's fun for us, man. We don't make any money doing this. We do this on our own time and our own dime, and we've loved it for a long time. Check it out on Facebook as well. Facebook.com/Purple People Podcasts, YouTube and Facebook, same handle on both. We'll be back next week. Hopefully Kyle West can join us. We're going to review the Panthers game and keep chugging right along through this weird COVID 2020 season.
True. Go get your Pro Bowl votes in. Make sure that Adam Thielen gets in there because he darn well deserves it.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, stay classy, Minnesota.